How do we teach children values in a world that's constantly changing? And what really shapes them? Home, school, or both? Today, we are exploring these questions with an expert who's dedicated her life to nurturing conscious and confident kids. We'll talk about emotional intelligence, independence, tricky conversations, and the small daily choices that shape who our children become. This episode is full of practical tools you can use right away. Today, I am honored to welcome Miss Sucheta Pardikar, a deeply respected early childhood educator with over 30 years of experience. She's a Montessori trained teacher, a champion for immigrant families, and the heart behind IACS Early Childhood Program, also known as Indian American Community Service. Her work blends child development, mindfulness, and compassion, and she has guided thousands of families in nurturing conscious, confident, and joyful children. So please join me in welcoming Miss Sucheta Pardikar to the Conscious Children Project. Welcome to the Conscious Children Project, a podcast by Mudita Circles. I am your host, Shruti Desai, a parent, kids yoga educator, and someone who left 12 years in the corporate world to walk a more intentional path. This podcast is a space to slow down and to reconnect with what truly matters. Not just how we nurture our children, but how we grow alongside them. Each season, we explore themes close to the heart of childhood and consciousness. And in this season, we will be exploring the 8 limbs of yoga as a framework for understanding the child as a whole. Each episode will focus on one aspect of the child's development, and we will dig deeper into what truly supports their growth emotionally, physically, socially, and spiritually. Let's get right into it. Thank you so much, Sucheta, for joining us today. Raising children with kindness and rooting them with values from the get go. I think most often we undervalue kindness or it's overlooked. So I would really love for us to unpack this beautiful topic and understand how we as a parent demonstrate kindness and inculcate some of the values from the very start and from our home. So thank you so much for taking the time out to join us today.
Thank you for inviting me with my experience as an early childhood educator. Whatever tricks and tips that I have gathered over the years, I thought I would be able to pass them on in a small way, help them, build a much nicer, kinder community with children because these children are going to be our future later. And so having the right values and growing up with kindness is the right way to impact everybody's life in a better way.
That's wonderful. This is why I thought of you, and it aligns with our vision and mission as well that children are our future. And I think as parents, that's one superpower that we have to influence the future of our world and future of our kids. So thank you so much for sharing values. As we all know, it cannot be taught, right? They are lived. Why is early childhood such a powerful time for shaping a child's future? Developmentally, they are like a sponge in the early childhood days, right? How can a parent inculcate them with ease without seeing that as another task?
Yeah, you said it yourself, right? Modeling and through your own behavior, through your own how you interact, because children, as you said, they absorb this. They're like, there is something in the early, from birth to 5 years in children's developmentally, it's called rapid growth development, right? There is something called the neural connections that they make, and they learn through observations and imitations, starting from childhood, starting from their birth, right? And so because they their brain is growing so rapidly, and they are trying to connect these neural connections, right, by imitating and observing. It is they get easily influenced by watching their parents. As you know, the famous saying of apple doesn't fall far from a tree, right?
Mhm.
And so the way and the three main grown-ups that come into the child's life early on is their parents and the teachers. So these three most important individual, as well as if there is a older sibling in the house or grandparents or an extended family, they learn through imitation and observation, right? And through their rapid grown development, they make connections as to how to react or how to behave. I'm giving you a
Mhm.
very simple example of this mom came to my class the other day and she said, Miss Sucheta, this my baby is only 4 months old and she's hitting me already. She's getting a
Mhm.
reaction from you. So what do you think she's trying to learn? She's trying to get your attention, right?
Right.
So when the
Mhm.
child hits you, you're looking at her and you're saying no, or you're giving some kind of reaction, and that's what
Mhm.
exactly the child is wanting. He doesn't have
Mhm.
communication. So instead of saying no, what have you done to the child? So she said,
Mhm.
what do you mean? She doesn't understand anything. I said, no, the child understand everything, because you're giving the reaction. The child knows that if she hits, she's going to say, get back to you, to her. So I said,
Yes.
instead of hitting, you hold her hand right there, and with the other hand, you say, gentle, gentle, no hitting, gentle, gentle. Can you do gentle? Do gentle to me and model how gentle
Mhm.
is done. So next time, if she won't hit, and this is not going to happen, I said, in one or two
Over.
settings, because till 4 months she's learned that behavior of hitting. Now you have to
Mhm.
undo that behavior. And every time
Mhm.
she hits or she tries to get your attention, oh, hi, do you want to talk to me? Do you need me? Gentle. Remember, gentle. So you're telling her what not to do, but you're not
Mhm.
telling her what to do. Teach her
Mhm.
what to do instead of telling her what not to do. And that will
Mhm.
really, really help her, you know, how to interact with you. So, very
Right.
simple and easy example. But if you would have asked me so if a mother asks me a problem, I'm able to give them the answers. But just out of the blue, if you cannot teach kindness to a parent or to anybody just like that unless you fall into that situation. So
Right.
several situations have arrived in the class where you give an example and then you deal, because a 3 month old or a 4 month old is going to be completely different than a 4 year olds or a 3 year olds, right?
Of
uh,
course. Yes.
Preparing them ahead of time, I said your 4 year old is going to have a tantrum and things like that. If you take him to the grocery store and show and you're going through that aisle of a sugary cereals or sugary candy or
Mhm.
something that you really don't want that child to have, preparing him.
Right.
What are we going to do? We are going to the grocery stores today. What are we going to
Mhm.
get? We are only going there for milk, egg, and butter, or whatever your list has. Are we going to get
Right.
cereal? No. Are we going to get candy? No. Are we going to get toy? No. Why? Because we don't need it. What do we need from the grocery store? We need bread, milk, and egg, or whatever your list is there. And so
Right.
children always need to have this preparation to
Mhm.
see what situation they are going into. They bring into my class without telling them what they are going to do today.
Mhm.
And the child
Mhm.
is, it's 10 o'clock, of course it's either nap time or snack time, or want to drink water. And if one child want to drink water, there are 30 children who don't want to snack, and they want it from the child's box, whatever they don't have, right? So
Right.
preparation is for any kind of behavior is very
Mhm.
important, is how I feel, to
No,
the
I think
child.
you bring up a good point, and this is something that I can also relate to. Like my son, when he goes out to play with his friends, right? And the minute I go to pick up, he gets
he starts throwing tantrums and like, no, I don't want to come, 5 more minutes, no, a lot of things. And for few times, I didn't know how to respond, or I didn't know better. So after a while, I kind of thought to myself, how do I manage this? And so before the next time, before he went to play, I told him that, go play for 2 hours. You're allowed to play for 2 hours. And then the minute I come, you are coming back with me. So until then, you are playing. Either you play, you sit, whatever you want to do, you can do. Because he used to give me reasons that, no, we just started playing, or we just started to watch something, or we just started, a lot of reasons to stay longer. And so I decided to tell him ahead of time that you get to play for 2 hours, and when I come, that means that is the time to go home. And that actually helped him to understand and know what to expect when I come. And he was much calmer. He's like, when I used to go to pick up, he used to still say like, mama, 2 minutes. I was like, okay, fine, 2 minutes. And then I used to pick up. The drama was much lesser. But not that, there are some times that it still happens, but it's much controlled way. Yeah.
Right,
No,
right.
I think that's a great thing, that we think that children don't need that structure, or don't need, for us to tell them what to do. But I think when we share those, this is the plan for the day, they feel like they know what is coming, and they are ready to respond to it accordingly. Versus when I tell him, go brush randomly, he gets really
Yeah,
kind
you
of,
cannot do
out
that.
of.
Because I
Yes.
keep telling the moms, like, preparation ahead of time. Like, and nowadays it's so easy. You can just tell Alexa, and they will tell Alexa,
Yeah.
Alexa, put a timer for 2 minutes, and Alexa will do that, right? So it's
Right.
going to.
And I think you told me another thing that was very, I think, very valid, which is, you are trying to model the kindness, and you're also giving them a response of how to respond. You're not just saying no, but you're also giving them a way to respond. So they learn by seeing you, how you're responding, and, the way you are co regulating with them by, toning down your voice, the way you're talking, your body language. I think they
Yes.
observe everything. It's not just the tone, it's not just the body language. They kind of take you as a whole. So I think that's a very valid point. I think this was one topic that I brought up with, the teenagers group discussion that we had. Is, for me as a parent, I am okay if my child doesn't come and share everything with me. But the only thing that I'm worried about is, I'm hoping that my child can differentiate between the good and the bad. With the peer pressure today, and there's so many kids that are exposed to so many different things. And when there is a mixed group of kids, they want to learn what the older kids are doing. So how, as a parent, or how, as a coach, can we, inculcate that in a child? Before I let you answer, when I spoke to the kids, what they told me was trust. You got to trust us to make the right decision, and then let us, then if we go wrong, then you come and tell us in a way that is appropriate. Not right on our face saying that you did wrong, but first learn to trust us, is what a teenager said.
Very
But what do
nice.
you think?
So
Yeah.
this is a excellent example. I will give you two examples. So
Yes.
learn. Please trust us, right? Teenagers. I'll give you the teenagers example later. But for very young children, how
Hmm.
do you help them what is right and wrong, or what is good and bad, or hold them, first of all, validate their emotions if they are upset, in the sense, like I said, in nowadays, I told you so doesn't work, right? So
Right.
before going to school, you can give them simple things. I tell, like, there used to be a tremendous amount of complaint from my parents when I used to teach in private school, saying that my child does not eat his or her lunch. Okay.
Hmm.
And the whole lunch comes back, and as soon as I pick up at 3 o'clock, they're extremely cranky and hungry, and somehow they end up crying in the car, and I'm driving, and this doesn't work. why don't you please tell them to eat their lunch, and
Mhm.
I said, good point. Because they're hungry, of course. They are they don't know how to express, and they're tired, they're hungry, they have been all day away from you, and you're the only safe space where they can burst out into emotions and tears. But tell me one thing, how do they eat at home? What do you do?
Mhm.
And they said, well, a lot of times they don't finish their plate either. And then I just end up feeding them. And I'm a preschool and a kindergarten mixed classroom, right? Montessori. So I said, aha, so you feed them at home, right? How do you expect them to eat here independently, especially when it is not a finger type of food? Most of the Indian parents either will send rice or chapati and sabji, like whether the child is supposed to break that. Fingers are not ready to like do that spot. Even if it is so simple things like you can put idli, or you can, even if you can give chapati and sabji, but you can make it a roll into a roll. Like all my American kids, no problems, their lunchbox
Mhm.
will be finished within 5, because they have learned to eat by themselves. Whereas
Mhm.
most Indian parents, kids have not learned to eat by themselves. They get fed, and in a very bad way, whether if there is some kind of screen is on.
Mhm.
No, that is not okay. But my child will
Mhm.
not eat, and then the whole day. I said, so I would give them choices, and I would give them to call the child and say, what can we do? And make a calendar saying that, okay, Monday you'll have peanut butter jelly, Tuesday you'll have chapati sabji roll, Thursday you'll have, and then don't go
Mhm.
dither from it. You can change it a little bit once in a while, and then the child, you chose it, and then don't go that lunchbox go waste. You know the child is hungry. Open that lunchbox while you're driving, have him eat the lunch,
Mhm.
so that,
Mhm.
or prepare whatever, like a smoothie or something, so that that problem doesn't arise.
Yeah. Sorry. No. So by building that habit, so we are letting them, be independent, and that way we are, inculcating that we are building that trust of them to eat by
And they
themselves.
have chosen that themselves, right? So
Right.
then the onus is also a little bit on them, but you chose peanut butter. So I'll tell
Mhm.
you what, you can eat half a peanut butter sandwich, and half will give you a smoothie or a treat or a juice or whatever you want to. But because you chose it, we are not going to let it go waste. At least you have to
Mhm.
finish half. Or I used to eat 5
Okay.
bites of main food, and I would
Mhm.
put some music during while they were eating.
Yeah.
I also developed certain strategies and certain
Mhm.
coping up mechanism to help with the parents, at the same
Mhm.
time to help with the children, so that they are not hungry all day, as well. For the teenagers, I have 2 daughters, and they were both
Mhm.
in camp, in this Indian Camp Bharat, that we
Mhm.
run for the youth program. And my younger one was more feisty than my older one. So I was a parent chaperone at the camp all 9 years. For all 5 days, I used to go and volunteer. And
Mhm.
I trusted my daughter, and we had a very good relationship. But, and whenever I gave her a suggestion about the camp, oh, you should do this workshop, like, among the festival. And she goes, okay, mom, that's a good suggestion, but I will ask Uncle Ram, and then I will get back to you. Every time anything I would suggest, she would say, I will talk to Uncle Ram, and I will. I said, who the heck is this Uncle Ram? I need to know. And I said, why don't you have next camp meeting at our house? And she goes, okay. And then I was watching, as from afar. I did not intervene or interrupt, because they were all teenagers. They decide what kind of workshops they want to have, what time they want to have lunch, what time, what Surya Namaskar, how many times they were discussing. And so Uncle Ram was just sitting and observing and let them decide. And if he
Mhm.
felt that they were doing their decision was not going to work out, he would say, hey, you guys have thought through all of that, but did you know you didn't think of this? You are planning that workshop at 1 o'clock. Do you think all 200 kids would have eaten by 1 if we start lunch at 12? So maybe you might
Mhm.
want to push it little bit later. That would be thing. So he will not say, hey, start at 1 o'clock, because blah, 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 blah. But he will never insist like that. He will always say, oh, maybe you should do it this way. What do you think? And he would put the onus on them, right? So
Mhm.
he's trusting them to make the right decision by giving them what are the cons going to be about that decision. So the same thing
Mhm.
happened to my daughter. I used to go and I used to never intervene. From that day on, I became like Ram uncles. A very fan. And then my younger daughter started going to the camp, and she was in the youth board program, and the older one had gotten out already. And I said, oh, and she realized that, oh, mom is coming. And she's like, why are you coming? You're always there. You are a teacher in my school. You are always there with my friends. Why now you want to come to camp too? Why are you coming to camp? And I said, Richa, trust me, I will have nothing to do, nothing nearest to you. I will be always in the kitchen. I will be helping out over there and stuff like that. So I didn't have to say anything. My older one heard, and he
Mhm.
said, Richa, you want mom to be there. You know why? Because mom is really good, because there are a lot of other parent chaperones and they always fight with counselors, and they don't let counselors do certain things at night. They don't let them do this and that and the other, but mom always backs us counselors. So it will be good to have mom will always be on your side. So don't do this mistake. Let mom come. So I didn't have to do it. She said, okay, you can come. So she had already gone through that. She had already trusted me, knowing that mom will never interfere. In fact, she will always back us up. So,
Mhm.
so you develop that trust over the years by really being, as a guide and not as a person who is going to enforce these strict rules and regulations and stuff. But if you just think that they're deviating, you say, do you think that's a good idea? If
Mhm.
I were you, I won't do it. I'm not going to
Mhm.
tell her that I'm not going to do it, right?
Yeah, no, those are great examples to kind of, give them the context, give them the choices to make, and also give them your insights without inferring that, you're asking them to do what you're suggesting, but give the onus to them to
The
decide.
onus is on him.
And I think when you are aware and, be mindful of those incidences that are happening at your home and kind of guide them on those incidents, I think the goal would be for us to watch from the outside. And the same thing will happen at the school, hopefully, when, when there's a situation, they will be able to think to themselves that, what should I do? Is this the right way? I think because the way we would model them, give them like situations, break it down for them, I think that will help them to think in that regards when they are by themselves in a situation where they have to decide.
That's right. So increase the complexity of choices, right? As they grow, as they mature, and about the significant decision making choices, right? Let the decisions be theirs, but at the same time, like tweak a little bit as per the age appropriateness is there, right? The outcome
Right.
of their choices should be a learning aspect rather than punishing aspect, right?
Right.
So trust, but verify or validate, like, first validate, then verify after you trust them. So that way it's easy to let go.
Right. No, I think the example of a 3 or 4 year old, the way a parent can trust by giving them a right food choices and helping them decide how much to eat. If you start right there by building that trust, and when they get to the teenage year, you already have that bond built. Oh, they're already in teenage. What do I do? How do I bond with them now? You won't be in a spot to figure out a plan then, because you've already built that foundation pretty strong by.
Give them a little bit leeway. You don't want to be a military mom. You chose them. Because
No,
then
for
they
sure.
know
I
that you
think.
are on their side. You don't
Right.
want them to feel that you are never on their side. You always want them to feel that you are on their side.
Yes,
You are doing this because you care about them, right? So
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I think this also was one of the things that the teenage group shared, is if the parents are really strict, that's when they want to kind of sneak out
Rebel.
and do things. Yes. Versus if you have that trust and you are willing to have that open space for them to come and share, they don't really want to hide anything from
No.
you, because everyone there shared that they were about six girls and one boy, and all of them were 15-year-olds. And everybody said that we do seek parents advice, we just don't want them to come and tell us when we did something wrong on our face that we did something wrong, but give us our space to come down ourselves and then come down and have a conversation. Don't start the conversation with this is not what you are supposed to do, but break it down for us of why something was not right, and what is like you always you gave an example of what should have been the outcome or a response. So I think that's really great. Going back to one of the words or one of the proverbs back in India, where it says, it briefly translates to treat a child like a king until 5 years with love and affection, and then from 5 to 15 discipline them, and then beyond 15 treat them like a friend. Do you think this holds true in today's modern environment, or you think maybe yes, but then the age could be readjusted?
It could be readjusted, I feel, because if you're treating the child till 5, till they're king, then the establishment is already there, right? You
Mhm.
really don't know. Uh, he's a king, so he wants to do everything, and he's
His
going to get everything what he wants. So with needs to be changed a little bit, I feel. But at
Mhm.
the same time, because discipline comes in way earlier, right? And it is actually not a discipline, but at the same time it is giving them the tools to be successful or to be the judge of their pros and cons, to what their
Sure.
choices are, right? For example,
Mhm.
if you keep uh, letting your child hit from the age 4 months old, he's going to
Mhm.
kick you and throw things at you by that
Mhm.
time. So,
Right.
and that is really not a discipline, but at the same time guiding, right?
Right.
So,
Mhm.
if you guide the children at for the appropriate behavior early on, then the
Mhm.
disciplining, strict disciplining or disciplining per se does not even come into the
Mhm.
play factor,
Yeah.
right? As a factor.
Right.
So, as parents and as educators, I feel like you need to be their guide.
Mhm.
You need always trust but verify. And I was going to give you this example at the end, but I'll give it to you anyway now, because so have you seen a kite?
Yes.
We play
Mhm.
kite in India, and then the kite has this long string which is on a spool, right?
Mhm.
So how do you fly a kite? Somebody puts it high up in the air, and then you let the thread go and go and go, right? So
Mhm.
when the kite is flying, depends on the wind. You have to either hold the string tight or let it loose. So
Right.
it's a very similar analogy I use always use for the parents. Like when your
Mhm.
child is flying high up, when you give the right tools, right heel or right leeway of that thread, you really
Mhm.
don't have to do a lot, like a lot. But if there is a strong wind and a storm, then you just pull it down and hold that string tight, right?
Mm.
So if you
Right.
have that from the beginning, and it comes through by being very mindful, right? And the
Right.
way you
Mhm.
become mindful is the way you talk to your children, the way you act with your children, the way you act with others when they are around
Mhm.
you, right? You can't be like a military sergeant everywhere where they're there and like, don't do this, sit down here, stand up there, do this, do homework now, eat lunch now, eat snack now, eat only this snack. mean, nobody likes that. It's like being in jail,
Mhm.
right? Hey,
Right.
and at the same time, when you're giving a snack, they say, I want cookie. And I said, oh, that's a great idea. I feel like eating cookie too. But guess what? We do have to eat something better before cookie. You can have a cookie, no problem in having a cookie. But why don't you have a banana or, some peanut butter with something like, and they said, no, but I want donut or cookie. I said, but guess what? Those are not your choices. Your choice is this peanut butter with a toast or a banana with peanut butter. What are you going to choose? I want a cookie. I wish, but that's not a choice. Tell me what are your choices. Go back to the basics, right?
Mm-hmm.
S-
Yes, reinforce.
Reinforce and give them only choices. That's not a choice. That is a choice after you eat
Mhm,
this, but not right away.
mhm,
You have to have something better
mhm.
in your body because you're showing me that you want a cookie because you're very hungry, right? Your body needs something better. So
Right. No,
and stick to and reinforce and put yourself
yes, I
down
think
sometimes.
kite analogy,
Yes.
right? And yes, it's amazing. And if you're a parent listening, anytime you're in a situation, think about it. If you need to leave it loose, or if it is a time for you to hold, pull it back. And pull it back, that doesn't mean that you are restricting, but pulling it back means you're
Yeah,
protecting.
gentle
You
kindness, like, hey, I don't
know?
think those are the right shoes you have chosen because it's raining right now. But
Mhm,
if you really want to choose, maybe you can put a pair in the car, another one, so that you won't be suffering. But if you don't want to, that's your decision. And then stick to it.
mhm. Right. No, that's really an amazing one. Thank you for sharing that. In today's schooling, what do you think is missing? There are other syllabus like Montessori based, and various things out there. So what do you think, from as an adult, looking back, what should a schooling be? And how should it be? What kind of system should a school have?
Interesting. My favorite kind of question as an educator. I am a trained Montessori teacher. I took my training here in United States, but I was also a very traditional teacher in India. The way I did my masters in education in early child development is I did my masters in early childhood. Montessori is my favorite kind of education. I wish there was there till 12th grade. It's also, but Montessori is the best education because the teacher is just there as a guide, right?
Mhm,
All the apprentices that are available in early childhood Montessori education, still first, second grade, they teach them the control of error is right there because the
mhm,
children are doing addition, multiplication, everything with hands, with manipulatives, right? So if you take four
mhm,
units and you take 5 units, it's going to be 9 units. If you give me answer as a 10 units, I'm going to say, oh, it's not a 10 bar because go back and see. And I would just say, oh, I don't think this sounds okay. Can you go back and check your manipulatives and or your units? Go see how many you took. And the child goes and says, I got it, Mrs. Pardikar. And he would go give a 10 bar, right? So the
mhm,
control of error it's right there. The teacher is just their guide. Teacher is not saying, this is wrong. How many times I've taught you 4 plus 5 is not 10. It's not. You don't have to do any of that. Child will
right.
figure it out themselves. So
Yeah.
I feel if we can do the traditional and the Montessori together, and that's
Mhm,
what I had developed in my school in Cascadia. I
mhm.
was very fortunate to have a director where she could let me do what the curriculum that I wanted, right? A guide, as teacher as a guide, because over here also they get projects.
Right. No, I think that's a great approach. And Sadhguru,
Yes.
I don't remember the exact thing that he says, but he speaks in a similar way. You've given birth to the child. That doesn't mean they are yours to control. They are born with the intelligence to decide for themselves. It doesn't mean just because you gave birth to them doesn't mean that, you hold them tight and say that, I gave birth to you, so you do what I say. And you got to, let them have their life. So I think that's exactly what way that you explain kind of talks to them, talks to that aspect, is a model where, you teach them the lessons and help them apply it.
Yeah.
Because if there's no application of, what they learn, there's no way that they would remember it. As long as they are applying what they're learning is when I think they remember it better, and you don't have to reinforce after that.
Yeah. The acquisition of academic knowledge and practical skills is
Hmm.
important, right? But the
Right.
development of critical thinking comes only
Hmm.
when it is done over and over, like when they have done it themselves most of
Hmm.
the time, like thinking out of the box, right?
Hmm.
And you have to help them. They'll come and ask you, hey, I need to do this project, and what do you think I should do? Oh, that's a great project. What do you think you should do?
Right.
And if they don't come up, then give two or three suggestions and you can choose and let them
Hmm.
choose it, right? Because a lot of times some kids don't know where to start. And
Right.
so again, be as a guide, be there. You have
No,
to be the first one. As an South Asian parents, I think we really want them to be first into everything. Let them fall.
right.
They'll learn
Yes.
slowly and
Yes.
surely.
For sure, definitely. I think my next question is a hard one. Truthfulness is a tricky value, right? It's hard for us as an adult to demonstrate sometimes. At when we are talking about it, we tell children that you always have to, tell us what is happening, tell us the truth, never lie. It's okay, you can share, and we will accept it, and we will figure it out. And there are times where we don't demonstrate it ourselves, and lying is not correct. And you're in such a situation that as an adult there are certain white lies that you tell, to get away with certain things, but the kids are watching and observing, which puts them in a confused state, right? What is a lie that is okay to tell, and what is a lie that is not okay to tell, is not something that they can decide at that age. So how how do you work around this?
That is a hard question. That is a hard
Yeah.
question. It's parents, like sometimes they have to have a meeting, right? And this happens a lot during the Mother's Day. What happens on Mother's Days, I used to do an event at my school on a Mother's Day. On the day that Mother's Day is, usually it is the Sunday, but the previous Friday I used to have a Mother's Day tea where I prepare the tea, but the children and cookies and some snacks, and then the children take it to their moms and they sing some songs and stuff like that. And a lot of mothers are,
Mhm.
gosh, it's Friday. What is Mrs. Pardikar thinking? We are working moms. We cannot come in the middle of the day, right? And there used to be a lot of tears. So I used to prepare the children ahead of time and to say, look, there are a lot of moms who are working and they
Mhm.
do a very hard job. And some of them may not be able to come. But we have four teachers in our class and our
Mhm.
director. That's five. So
Mhm.
we will have tea with you guys. So
Right.
I would tell their moms that please don't do this to your child. Be true.
Mhm.
Tell them the truth, and they will be mentally prepared to have tea with me or with other teachers. Tell
Mhm.
them the situation ahead of time. Like,
Mhm.
what should we do? Like, do you want, I won't be able to come, or I won't be able to fulfill this promise, but can another
Mhm.
person substitute for me? Right? This,
Yes.
yeah,
So,
being open
yeah.
is a better way than telling a
Mhm.
white lie. And if you
Mhm.
have to tell a white lie, uh, explain it to them. What is the urgency or importance of that white lie is how I would
Right. Right.
best put it. I have a very
This is.
classic example of
Yeah.
this in happened in my class. This mom came to
Yeah.
me one day in my class. I had a very strict rule. I would not come. You cannot come in late. No tardy.
Mhm.
And before between 8:30 and 8:45, the child has to come, because if the child doesn't come, he falls behind in the work. So this mom came to me at 10 o'clock one day and rushingly, I am so sorry, Mrs. Pardikar. You know, her dad was out of town and she came late and he wanted to spend time with her. So we end up sleeping late, and she wouldn't wake up, and I didn't want to wake up, blah blah blah, whatever. And so I said, okay, no problem. And she was wearing a vest, and she had a name tag on her vest. And I said, oh, that's a
Mhm.
cute name tag. Did you get this for late school yesterday? Because it was very similar to what I have the name tag in my classroom. And she goes, no,
Mhm.
I got it in school this morning. I said, school, you just came. I didn't give you the name tag. And she goes, no, I went to a different school. And she goes, I wrote a paper. Said, what do you mean? She goes, there were some questions and I wrote some answers. And then my mom dropped me and then she picked me up and now here I am. I said, oh, so you went to a different school? The mother just lied right in front of the child. I mean, she could have just told me that she's trying for
Right.
a different school. It would have hurt
Mhm.
my feelings. But, the problem now, it is hurting my feelings even more. So,
Right.
so and then the parent teacher conference that mom is saying, she's lying a lot these days. She's not telling me what's going on, this, that, and the other. And I was like, how do I break?
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, but
Yes, it
that
starts.
incident happened. So
Yes.
she was all red in her face.
No, totally. I think this also, children observe and they get it. And this was also one of the things that the teenagers said, that it's okay for parents to go wrong. We don't hold them accountable, but we want them to admit that they made a mistake, and this is how they would have done it otherwise. So acceptance is more than enough, and we understand that parents can go wrong and will go wrong
We're
as well.
human beings, right? Everybody is a human, and everybody needs some laid back thing. So, and it is okay to tell, and it is okay to tell them that you made a mistake and you're apologizing for it. And that's the biggest thing. I don't know where I read in Hindi there is a saying like making a mistake is a nature. गलती मानना संस्कृति है. Accepting that you made a mistake is culture. Like, it should be doing that. गलती
Mhm.
सुधारना प्रगति है. Now, changing that mistake, like, it's a progress. If you accept that and apologize for it, it's a progress.
Mhm.
So it's a very
Right.
very
Very.
natural, very human thing to do. So it's not a biggie
Mhm.
to apologize. In fact, you
Right.
bring your ego down, even apologizing to a children. My daughter does that all the time. Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I promise that? Yeah, I made a mistake. I am so sorry.
Mhm.
Just say
Yes.
sorry and say why you are sorry and what happened and move on. Life
Right. Yes.
happens.
Yes. No, I think that is a very good proverb or a statement that you shared. And if everybody can, just have that somewhere, because that takes the pressure off you,
Yeah,
right?
it does. And
Because
you
you
you're
don't
not like
have
you're
to.
sleeping peacefully at night then.
Yes, yeah, because sometimes you, as a parent, you feel like you got to do everything right. You got to model them. That also kind of adds up that pressure, and you feel overwhelmed. But knowing that fact that you will make mistakes, and even children are okay with that. But like you said, accepting and making some progress is the best way to go about it. I think that is a good segue for us into the next segment, which I call it pause segment, where if you could share one small thing that parents or caregivers listening today can apply at their household. You've given us wonderful, lovely examples so far, but if there is one thing that you would tell every parent, and maybe a simple trick
Wow.
that you could.
Again, I was going to tell you, I told you, right? I always keep that analogy of kite in front of my eyes. And as
Mhm.
some very famous person, I don't remember who said it, he said the art of parenting lies in knowing when to let it go.
Mhm.
So, that letting go is really hard, especially for us moms. For some reason, because we are so emotionally involved and emotionally connected to our children, we never completely break that cord, that umbilical cord. And
Mhm.
so letting go a little bit and sending that positive vibe and energy to them, and just thinking that whatever you have done so far as a parent is going to take them ahead and shape them into their who they are, because you are not doing it today and tomorrow, or you're never going to stop doing it. But whatever you have done so far is, or whatever you're doing it, it's whether it's physical comfort, emotional comfort, whether it is security, whether it
Mhm.
is you're inculcating your values, all the tricks that you have taught them so far is going to help them go. And the sense of emotional safety and focus on validation uh, is really ensure that your child will be okay, because you have given them the ropes to climb whatever mountains they have decided to climb so far, right? Whether they are in
Right.
preschool, so to a preschool that they have going to be the first time going to be away from you for 4 hours, or whether they are going to into high school or middle school in a different school, every transition in their life, or whether they are going to a college, right?
Hmm.
You have taught them that okay, beer and wine is only after 20.
Right.
um,
I think that's a very simple but yet so effective and yet so meaningful and can be applied in various situations. Giving them the independence, just being a guide, I think is an amazing tip for everyone listening. Moving on to the next segment, which I call it ripple movement. You've worked with so many families and you've helped so many children. Is there one story? I'm sure there are several, but is there one story that's close to heart that makes you feel, yes, this is why I love the work that I do? Is there something like that that you would love to share with us?
I have so many stories, but one story which is, I mean, I help children, I identify children with their red flags and gray areas in their child's development, right? And so I really feel, I really like that work, because I feel children have no voice in their they don't know any better, they don't have any voice, whether it is their whether if they need physical therapy or occupational therapy or speech therapy, they don't know that they are not walking the right way, or they are supposed to climb at this age, or they are supposed to look they are not able to see properly, or if they have some vision issues or speech issues. And there were a lot of children in pandemic who didn't know how to they were lacking vocabulary, they were lacking social emotional development, and
Mm-hmm.
lacking communication skills, because they didn't go out as much. As in pandemic we were all stuck, right? But this child, when we started it, I observed her for 4 months
Mm-hmm.
continuously. And her child was 18 months old, and anytime he wants to speak, he would hit her really hard and throw tantrums and stuff like that. So I pulled her aside and I said, do you realize your child is 18 months old? How many words does he speak? And he goes, he speaks, ma'am. And I said, okay, can you ask her to ask me how I'm doing? Or does he know my name? Or can he repeat like some words? And she said, no, ma'am, he's not saying any words yet, but he can communicate. Said he speaks only Anna. Anna means his brother, and he also calls me Anna. He also, I said, but mom or Amma is easy. How can he not say Amma
Mm-hmm.
is 18 months? And he goes, no, ma'am, he doesn't. When now you're that telling me, I'm thinking, and he is really not speaking. So I said, would you like to get evaluated? And she goes, I will get back to you. And then after 2, 3 days, she got back next time. She said, yeah, ma'am, how do we evaluate? What do you do? I now, when you told me, that's when I'm realizing that yeah, I have an older son, and by this age he was speaking many other words, but this guy is not speaking, because all her focus was, because there was no school, her focus was on her older child and teaching him
Right.
whatever kindergarten needs to know, right, or preschooler needs to know. So
Mm-hmm.
then we got him evaluated. He started speech therapy, and today he's 4 years old and he can speak really well. But she had a lot of challenges. But this was a role model mom. And I mean, she followed my instructions to the T, and to the instruction of the speech therapist to a T. So, whatever goal she was given for 6 months, she completed in 3 months. And now, when he was again to be evaluated at the age of 3, the child got really anxious, like, because she told him that, oh, they're going to ask you some questions, you're going to do this. And so he got very anxious. And the teacher says, hey, why are you anxious today? You're looking different. He says, I'm not calm. Puzzles calm me down. Give me puzzles, and then I will talk to you. Or I
Mhm.
do some puzzles. So, and the mom started crying when he said that, because this is a child who did not speak any words, and now he knows his emotions, and
Mhm.
he still has some struggles with certain sounds and certain
Right.
things. But if we had not helped him right away, this would have not happened, right? So she
Of course.
always thanks me, and I said, you have done. It's not. I just guided you. You did the work. I didn't do anything. So she said, but if you would have not told me, I would have
Right.
not done all of this work. So that story really gets stuck. And there are a lot of other examples where parents, I know this child can do better. I know taking help is the only way, but we have so much taboo in our society when you say therapy. That
Mm-hmm.
word is, even play therapy, parents are not able to do it. So a lot of times, I, out of my interest and for the betterment of that child, I give them some games and things that to play at home. There are certain parents who have done it, but there are certain parents who have not done it. So to help your child is helping.
Yes, no, I think those are great examples. I think, for like you said, it's very important for parents to raise that red flag and guide the child for the betterment. I think what you're doing is very noble, in terms of helping the child, understanding what the needs are, understanding and signaling the parents to kind of get them on the right direction, because sometimes, like you said, the child will not know what they should do, or how much, or how less. And parents sometimes might also may not have that kind of information with them. They might not, that they might be that child might be their first child, so they don't know better, and so they would be just going ahead with it. But I think having someone like you in I hope you could be in everyone's life. And but if not, we hopefully
Yes.
this is great. So I just had one last question. The last segment is called the role of yoga, and I know you're a certified kids yoga teacher as well. And there is this saying from Dalai Lama where he says, if every 8-year old in the world is taught how to meditate, the violence in the world would get eliminated by a couple of generations. I'm not probably stating it correctly, but in that kind of way, is what he had said. So what do you think about that? I mean, if you think like the kindness and all of those values can, from the very get-go, if we can inculcate in the children, along, like, the yoga talks about it, right? Yoga is kind of a guide. It talks about ahimsa. It talks about how to look inward before you kind of say something out. So you think the role is there a role of yoga in the early childhood?
Sure, why not, right? PE is a such a big part of children's school curriculum. And if
Mm-hmm.
they can incorporate that. Now, when you say meditate, meditate is even hard for people like me, my age, right? But
Mm-hmm.
doing it from early on, and breathing exercises is
Mm-hmm.
so important, but how it is very hard to incorporate this in the school curriculum. But if everybody learns how to do it with the if the teachers learn how to teach young children with some props, it
Mm-hmm.
is the most beautiful thing. Like, for example, in my class to the very young children, I take feathers, colorful feathers, and I say, blow. Because if you say, oh, meditate, say, breathe in, breathe out, then I'm not going to learn anything. right?
Yes.
So we blow candles. We say, okay, pretend happy birthday. We sing happy birthday to you, and we say, take breathe in and close your eyes and blow your birthday candle for a long time. So you do it with the props for your very young children, and then
Yes.
they can, because yoga, in my opinion, is very hard for young children, because their natural tendency of a young child from 0 to 5 year old is to move, right?
Right.
But
Right.
moving with songs and props and doing those exercises mindfully with that intention in mind, then it is a beautiful thing. And there is no age limit for mindfulness. Can you hit your
Right.
mom? No.
Yes.
So
Yes.
mindfulness, kindness, and kindness is just such a big umbrella, because it comes into every all different other aspects, all the spokes of the umbrellas, right? Like no hitting, no biting, you know, no trash talk, like polite language. Everything
Right.
comes under this big umbrella of kindness. So I think it is and to young children, if there are so many books, actually I was going to bring you books to show. There are so many books, with simple books, like I told you, what did it
Right.
teaches you to for a different culture, different aspect. Like I have a book called Skin Like Mine is Very Divine, and it's all about brown skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has a
Mm-hmm.
chocolate skin, somebody has a caramel skin, somebody has waffle skin, all different. And so books like that can also bring kindness into young children's life. And I think that is just a beautiful thing. If all preschoolers in teaching teachers, if that
Mm-hmm.
is one big aspect of it, would be beautiful. I think then they would start.
Right.
That
Yeah.
that
Making
would get spread apart faster. Uh,
yoga meets the people, at where they are. So even if it is an infant, if it is a toddler, it can be taught. Yoga can be made accessible even to them. It could be form of a storybook, it could be in the form of an activity like using a prop. Like you said, I think that's an excellent example, and I think there is a role, like you said, there is a role of yoga, and kindness is a part of it. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to kind of
Thank you. I was
unpack all of these for us. And I'm sure all the parents, caregivers listening would definitely want to reach out to you for all the work that you're doing,
Thank you.
helping parents, helping children. If there is someone who's listening who want to reach out to you, where can they reach out and how can they reach out?
So we have a website, iacs.org, and they can reach out to our IACS website. There are several tabs under there. There is a early childhood tab, there is a youth tab. So we do serve to all ages and stages of life, starting from newborn to a pregnant mom all the way to seniors. We have a 101-year-old in used to be, he's passed away sadly now, but we have all kinds of people who come to our program and seek and take the enjoyment of what we provide. So iacs.org Washington, it'll be really a safe space. You can mention it in your
Yes, I'll be sure to include it in show notes so
yeah,
anyone listening can, use the link to reach out.
yeah.
So thank you so much again. This was really wonderful conversation. We unpacked kindness, how to raise children with kindness, and what, as a parent or a caregiver, what our role should be and how we should guide the children. And I think the best takeaway for me is the kite analogy that you shared. I'm sure any situation that I am put in, I will be sure to remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
I love
you.
I love that analogy.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Wow, what an incredible conversation. Today, we've explored how teaching values to children isn't just about rules, it's about modeling kindness, fostering emotional intelligence, and guiding them with love and respect. Some key takeaways to remember. The first one, start with yourself. Children learn values by watching, by imitating how we respond how we communicate and make choices. The second one, honest conversations matter. Even when they are hard, they build trust and understanding. And the third one, encourage independence while providing mindful guidance. It helps kids grow confident and curious. Fourth is small, consistent actions make a big difference in shaping a child's character over time. It's such a simple but powerful reminder of how to balance love and freedom. If something in today's episode resonated with you, please share it, subscribe, and leave a review. It really helps this show reach more parents, caregivers, and educators who could benefit from these insights. Thank you for tuning in, and go out and put these ideas into practice. You might be amazed at the impact you can have. And remember, one child, one breath at a time. Thank you. And thanks again to our lovely sponsor, Pia. Remember, you can use the code TCCP20 at piabeauty.com to get 20% off. Thank you. Take care.